Hey, what's up guys? Jacob Legacy 4x4 here again, and I'm just going to do a random quick little video here of making a cart for a portable propane heater inside my shop. This is just a random extra video. I'm building it today and I've got the time to edit it because I'm on leave, so I figured why not, I'll just toss an extra video out there. Anyways, let's go ahead and get started on this little project. Alright, so recently I got a propane heater for my shop. So it's been pretty cold down here in North Carolina, and working outside in the cold is really not that much fun. So I wanted to have something to generate a little bit of heat inside the shop, and I'm not worried about ventilation in here because I've got two big garage doors, so I'm not really worried about ventilation. I just wanted something to put a little bit extra heat out in the shop to make it a little bit more comfortable for me to work in. Now, like most people, as you guys have seen, if you've followed all my other videos, every single thing in my shop is on wheels. Every single tool cabinet, every single thing, except for my shelf in the back, everything else is on wheels. And I do that so I can clean out underneath things, I can move it around really easily and all that kind of stuff. And I want this to be no different. This thing isn't very big. See, you can pick it up with one hand. It's kind of small, but it works really well. I was using it the last couple of days to keep me hot out here while I was working on some other stuff. But I want to put this thing on wheels, so I went out and grabbed from Lowe's a couple sticks of 3/4 inch angle iron, a couple caster wheels, and I'm going to use those and some scrap metal, and we're going to make a quick little cart out of this. The ultimate goal of this cart is I'd like to be able to hold this up a little higher because I don't like, getting down to the ground to change the knob on it. So I'd like for this to be up a little bit higher so that I can more easily adjust the temperature on it. And I want it to be on wheels so they can move it around the shop, point it at different stuff, etc., etc. And I'd also like for it to be able to carry two propane tanks on the back of it, so that I've got my two tanks on the back of the cart, kind of similar to my welding cart, but I want to have the space for those two tanks back there so that they're always on the back of the cart, and I can move those around the shop as well. So for this, I don't really have much of a plan, so we're just going to kind of put something together and see what works. I'm going to start, I think, by making the tray where the propane tanks go, because that is the biggest of all things. And so get the propane tanks down, and then we'll figure out how we're going to make the rest of it and what kind of scrap we're going to need to build the rest of this. But let's go ahead and get started on building this little cart. Alright, so to start out this project, I just made this out of some of that angle. I didn't record any of it. This is just a really simple rectangle. What I did, you can't really see up here, but I basically did little pie cuts in all these corners. So you come in and you notch out 3/4 of an inch, because this is 3/4 inch angle iron, and you cut out a little square on one side of it, and that gives you a nice clean kind of like mitered cut on all of the ends of it. And I did that on all four corners and then smoothed it down the flat disc. I did also weld the back side of them down here. Obviously didn't come through and smooth these out because you can't get a flap disc down there, so I'm only worried about smoothing out the outsides and the top pieces. So this is going to be our lower base frame for this whole thing. Now, I have this scrap aluminum, and I think this actually came off of one of Matt's Samurai's, had some aluminum fender flares, and I had cut this up and I've been using it for little small stuff like this. I don't need this for anything, and I've got another piece of it as well that's a little bit bigger, but this one happens to be almost a perfect rectangle, and it happens to be big enough for the two propane tanks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this as the base for the propane tanks. I'm going to bolt this into that little piece of 3/4 inch angle iron frame that we made, and this is going to be the rear deck where it's all going to sit. There's no reason to use aluminum. I'm solely just doing it because I have it and it's the right size. So this is what we're going to use for this. So I think I'll bolt this down next. So drill the holes and bolt this part down, and then we'll get to doing the rest of it, the riser part where the actual propane heater is going to go, and then installing the casters. So let's get this piece down first. Alright, so this thing is coming together really quickly. Actually, I mean, it's a really simple, basically just a box and then a little caster wheel base. But you can see what it looks like here. This is what the propane heater is going to look like on the top there. I'm kind of messing around with, I need to design a mounting system for it, so I'm kind of playing around with some stuff up there for that, and I'll talk through it in a second. But you can see this is the basic look of it. So you'll have the 2 propane tanks back here, the heater up here, and then I want to do something to store extension cords and stuff below it here, but we'll get around to all of that in a little bit. But this is what it looks like so far. I'm gonna think up my mounting system and then I will bring you guys back in. Okay, so for the mounting piece, I decided to go with a relatively simple thing using some extra of that 3/4 inch angle iron that we had. So up front here, I made kind of like a lip, so to speak, and this lip goes over top of this little lip that is on the heater itself. So it kind of like presses, fits, and then sits down in there, and it's held in by the front of it. Now for the rear, I don't have one of those lips to go off of. I just have a piece of flat plastic back there. So what I think I'm gonna do is take this other piece of 3/4 inch angle that's the same length as this one and weld it down behind it, and then use that so that the heater can like slide in and out of here stably. So that's gonna be what's gonna hold it in place. So let me tack that into place and then see if it works. Okay, so now the hope would be that this is able to just slide in and out like so, and that's what's going to hold it into place. So that's not going to really go anywhere. It's not, you know, bolted down or anything, but it's stable enough for what this is to hold it all down. So let me finish welding up that back piece there, and then we can move on to the next part. Okay, so here's the finished product before paint, obviously. But you can see it's a relatively simple cart. We've got just a 2-tiered system. This is going to get the heater itself up high enough so I don't have to bend over all the way to change the knob on it. I've got a spot for 2 propane tanks on the back of it. And I've got some dead space down here that I don't know what I'm going to use, but every single thing gets used for some kind of storage, so something will end up living down here. I just don't know what yet. But this is what it looks like. And we added our little angle piece here so I can wrap a hose around it or wrap a cord around it so that it's easier to plug in. So this is what we got. Let's go ahead and give it a quick coat of paint, and then I'll show you guys everything with the whole thing installed and put together. Alright, so here we have it. As you can see, it's not very complicated, and this is a completely unnecessary build, but I wanted to have it on wheels, so we did it. Anyways, super simple build. As you guys can see, there's a space for the heater itself on the top here, so I can more easily adjust these knobs here and kind of move it and point it to what I want to heat up in the shop. And I got a spot for 2 propane tanks on the back of it, similar to a welding cart. So super simple overall. And now the biggest thing is it's on wheels, and I can kick it around the shop and put it places and get it out of the way whenever I want. So there you have it. Nice, super simple, easy little build just to get this little propane heater on some wheels and move it around the shop. Alright, so super simple video. I just wanted to do something to put that propane heater on wheels, so I figured I might as well shoot a video and edit it, and I'll just make it go live here all out of order. Coming up, we do have a lot more Bronco content. I've made a lot of progress on the Bronco since I've been on leave, so the Bronco's got a lot of videos coming on that pretty soon here, so make sure you guys stick around for those. Pretty soon that Bronco's going to be ready for its inaugural trip before I ended up tearing into it and getting into suspension components and things like that. But for now, we've gotten a lot of progress on it. I'm really happy with the way it's shaping up so far. Anyways, I hope you guys like this video. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.